Oh, okay, there we go. Hi, I'm Edwin Rutch. I'm a director of the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy. So I've been working for about the past 8 or 9 years pretty intensively on, trying to create more empathy in the world. And one of my inspirations was Barack Obama when he ran for office, saying the country had an empathy deficit. So I've been doing, I created the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy to address that empathy deficit, and it's now the largest, website and resource for empathy-related material on the internet. And I've been doing all kinds of different projects, and this is one, the Occupy Empathy Tent, which I set up at the original Occupy Wall Street in Berkeley, and also was a couple of weeks in downtown Berkeley where I was offering empathic listening and conflict resolution and mediation services for out in the public. And this is a workshop. This was a workshop at UC Berkeley I did on the out on the Sproul Plaza, which is the home of the free speech movement. We had set up an empathy tent there as well, and there's my logo, for the empathy, the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy. And my intention is to create tools that foster more empathy in the world, and I'm looking to one, make connections with other people that value empathy. And like I know everyone here is really working on creating more empathy and doing trainings. And I'm looking now to. I'm always looking for what kind of approaches will work, and I've just become very interested in schools. How do we build empathic school cultures? And so I want to create. This is part of it, to create a series of workshops as well as a kind of an organization and website and service for fostering empathy in schools. So this workshop here is part of that, and I'm looking to kind of keep building on this and building connections with others who are interested in that. And so that's my intro. Vincent, would you like to share yours? I'm showing it on the screen. You're muted too.
Okay. So my name is Vincent, or Vicens. I live in Spain, and here you have the logo of my Association of Restorative Justice and Restorative Practices, and you probably cannot see me in the photo below, facilitating a circle. Well, okay, I'm there somewhere. So my main interest right now is restorative practices, which is building in schools mainly. And for me, it's very important to be able to build community using restorative circles and other strategies, and also to solve conflict in a way that improves the community and it's not punitive. And that's it, more or less.
Okay. And we'll move over to Jackie.
Okay. Well, I have been working with empathy and the other core conditions of a person-centered approach for about probably 35 years, and I'm very interested particularly in empathy and as it can be taught in schools. I've had a career where I've used empathy as a consultant with an organizational development company. I've used it in a residential treatment facility for emotionally disturbed adolescents, and I've used it in creating a high school, a charter high school, where that was a foundational piece of our whole culture. And right now I'm working together with Carla to teach these kinds of empathy, among things, empathy to teachers, to help them to be more effective in dealing with their students and being able to teach their students, and creating those kinds of cultures in their classrooms. So when I found you, Edwin, I got really excited about the idea that there are other people that really want to put a concerted effort together to try and find ways to do it. And one of the things that I've been asked to do is just try to figure out ways to teach this where people don't have to always show up in a room face to face with me in order to learn it. And so I'm kind of intrigued with the possibility of there might be some things you guys are knowing about how to do this remotely that I could learn that would support the things we're doing. So.
Oh, great, thanks.
Oh, and my organization is Education Transformations, and if I'd been more together about how to do this, I could have put my logo and some things up, but maybe I'll add it later.
Yeah, can always come back to it.
I can always come back.
Okay, then Carla?
Okay, hi. Just FYI, I don't know what's happening, but my laptop has seemed to imploded in some form or another. I don't know if Mural had anything to do with it, but it's out of commission at the moment, so you will only hear me. Oh, now Jackie can type my name in here, or we can. Let's see. Text. Don't. Only one at a time. Yeah, I don't know.
Not going to do it. Probably doesn't let out anybody else type in somebody else's.
Well, I don't know. I mean, couldn't you have two profiles?
I just put it over. I just did it. Oh, I got a couple.
There we go.
Now we have 3.
Yeah.
There you go, Carla. Yay.
Okay. Do you have an image? What kind of a theme is of interest to you, Carla?
Well, empathy. It's I feel that the world is in dire need of empathy, and it has to start in schools. So I kind of, I'm with Jackie in a lot of ways. We won't survive as a species unless we can unite as a species, and the only way I think we can unite effectively is through empathy and recognizing that we are all the same in so many ways, and that we need to recognize how to work together. So that's why I'm involved in this, and I'm involved in education with Jackie, with our company Education Transformations, to try and help teachers and students and schools have a better culture and climate, reduce bullying, and to support more effective learning and critical thinking skills and whatnot. Uh-oh, did we lose Edwin?
No, sorry, I hit the wrong button. There we go. We're back.
So, yeah.
Okay, so thanks for that. Yeah, that's, I think, really empathy is the way forward for that, dealing with all those issues. So, and that's what I think what we're going to talk about here or work through is the human-centered design process. And so this process is also called, it's human-centered design or design thinking, or it's also called empathic design. And let me just share a different window here. Just a second. Application. And so if you look at the Google Hangout, you can see the presentation here. So this is empathic design, the heading on Wikipedia. Are you able to see that? It's just.
I'm looking for the presentation. Go to my murals.
No, it's in just looking at the Google Hangout. I'm sharing the screen there, so you should be able to see it.
Oh, okay.
The Wikipedia?
Yeah, that's Wikipedia, empathic design. This is.
Did you create that?
No, I didn't. I'm just showing some material that's out there. So this is the Harvard Business Review. They're talking about, sparking innovation through empathic design. This is a book on empathic design for user experience. So the human-centered design process comes out of the international design community, and it's really a center for this is in Silicon Valley. That a company called IDEO, which is a real leader in design, they have really laid out and articulated this design process. So I'm just curious, like, what is everyone's experience with human-centered design or design thinking? Have you heard of it? Have you, Vincent, what's been your experience?
Well, I did one of these workshops with you a couple of weeks ago, so that's one thing. And then I'm doing the prototyping course now.
Oh, you are? Oh, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, and I've read a little bit about this.
Do you
but
have
not
a
much.
team? Do you have a team? Because I
Yes.
put together a team, and we're doing
Yes.
it online on empathic education. So
Oh, really? How
yeah,
interesting.
we just had our first meeting yesterday. So wow, okay, would have been great to have collaborated on that one. So
How interesting. No, I'm with a team here in Mallorca, and yeah, we are like following the health things that
right,
they ask in the course. Oh, I wish I knew you were doing this.
yeah. Well, we can do another one sometime.
Yeah.
Uh, Jackie, have you heard?
Well, only from you. I mean, when we
Okay.
had our conversation and you introduced me to that, the whole what's going on with that, and I found it very exciting and fascinating. But yeah, I don't have any other experience with it other than what you've shared with me, and then I've looked into a little bit before this workshop the things that were offered about it and watched the videos and things that you had
Great.
up for that.
And Carla? Oh, Vincent, if you could mute if you could move the microphone a little bit farther from your mouth, because we're hearing the breath on the. That's not that far.
Can you hear us?
I don't know if you can hear us now. So, yeah. So, Carla, any background or?
I have. Well, no, I do have a background in software engineering. That's my original degree, but it's very ancient. Back in the day before they had what do they call it, object-oriented design. Right now, I was more of the linear school, but as I was in the development phase, we had the user interface was always the graphical user interface, the GUI, was always an important piece of the software because that was how the humans interacted with it. And so it was in the early days, and some absolutely were more empathic than others, for sure. And I remember back in the early days of computers wondering who designed this crap.
Right.
I'm sure we've all had that experience, and even today. So I can totally see where this came from. But I have no experience with it other than what I just link that you brought forth.
So yeah, well, great. So this is this process to empathic design, human-centered design, I think is really at the forefront of getting the word out about the importance of empathy, because it's connecting empathy to creativity and innovation, so that when we empathize with people, that we see what their needs are, and it generates creativity. And so this is really catching on all over the world. So here is, let's see, this is the D School, they call it, or the Institute of Design at Stanford. So this company, IDEO, the founder got like $130 million from SAP, the software company, to create this department of human-centered design in Stanford. And that's like a new program. They've been doing it 7 years now. And then there's this Hasso Platter School of Design in Berlin. So that's the person who gave the money, to the Stanford folks, they started another school of design, human-centered design, in Potsdam, Germany. And then there's this, for example, that it's catching on in all the different universities. So I hope you're able to see this. It says Heart of DFA, which is Design for America. So this is like a non-profit organization that's starting these clubs all around in the universities around the country.
Okay.
And there's a list of universities. So they're, at all the Ivy League universities. And they're using design for like social innovation. So you can see it's all, Stanford and, whatever, Purdue, Notre Dame, etc., Michigan State. There's a whole, bunch of different universities that are have these clubs. And then also, this is UC Berkeley. So UC Berkeley just created a minor in human-centered design. And these are classes at UC Berkeley that are, some of the software development that, you talked about, Carla, but there's also the human-centered design classes. So all these classes here are all specifically on design thinking. And then there's IDEO. This is IDEO, the company that I was mentioning, who are really at the forefront of this. And they're out of Palo Alto in Silicon Valley, and they were early designers for Apple. So they designed the mouse. They were doing product design. They moved into services and systems, and now they're moving into culture design, actually. And so they're very well known in the field. And there's companies like Apple, like I mentioned, they're using design. And this is an interview with the CEO of Ford Motors. And it's like, why empathy is a new buzzword for Ford. So Ford they went to the design school. He talks in this interview, he talks about going to Stanford, seeing their workshop and saying, we got to change. We have to change Ford to become a design-oriented company. So companies like Ford and IBM, big companies, Google is already headed towards being a design company. I gave a talk at Google, and they were doing a design project just like what we're doing here. It was on redesigning the transportation system. So I gave a talk about empathy to 150 managers that they had from around the world, and they were doing a redesign project to redesign the transportation system of the Bay Area. And this is IDEO.org, so they have a nonprofit version of their company, which is geared towards eliminating poverty in the world. So they use the design process for for dealing with issues of poverty and working with nonprofits and to do that. Here in San Francisco, I'd say is really the center for this human-centered design process, and because of Silicon Valley. And just the other month we had San Francisco Design Week. For a whole week there was all kinds of workshops at all the different companies, like Airbnb and Facebook, and all these companies were doing various workshops or presentations about design, different aspects of design. And finally, design thinking. This is where it's going to speak to you all probably, is design thinking in schools K-12. So this is the design thinking is sort of like project learning 2.0. And there's schools that are building themselves up from the ground up to be geared to design. And you can see these are schools around the world that are using, in one way or another, design thinking or human-centered design or empathic design, whichever word you want to use. And this is the Bay Area that I'm zooming in on. You can see there's at least 30 schools that are using human-centered design. And like I was saying, some of the schools are actually starting from the ground up. I mean, the whole school is a design school. That's the students, like work to co-design their school, and look for different problems to work on, and so empathy is a big part of that. So
Can you look down at the Southern California
oh, yeah.
ones? I would like to see what's going on down here. There's anything.
There's a couple in
LA.
LA.
San Diego, we're trying to find.
Oh, San Diego. Yeah. So keep going. There we go. San Diego. Yeah, it's not.
We don't have anything yet.
Go up north a little bit. I thought I saw.
Oh, there's a 45 branch.
Thing.
We are a public K-8 school,
Design
which is
9. Yeah, we've heard of that school.
with both staff and teachers use the design process.
Right,
okay?
exactly.
Let me ask you a question, Edwin, if
Sure.
I can.
Mm-hmm.
This human-centered design obviously takes in empathy, but what about the whole social emotional aspect? I mean, that just is one piece of a child's social emotional development. Is it a more robust thing than it sounds like, or is it really just focusing on empathy in the design world?
It's geared towards the idea is if you design anything, you need to first empathize with the people you're designing for. So if you create anything, if you create a curriculum, if you design a school, if you design a light bulb, if you design a chair, if you design a system, a process, that you need to empathize with the needs of the people you're designing for. So that's like a first step. I'll go into it a little bit more, which is actually what we're going to be doing. We're looking at how do we design a more empathic school culture? We want a culture that addresses the pain of bullying or loneliness or detachment or stress or all the various problems that might come up in a school. So we're wanting to design a culture. I mean, that's what this workshop is about. That addresses, creates an empathic environment. And so what I would like to do is create like an organization that goes into the schools or offers using design to create toolkits, website, ongoing workshops to foster and build empathic cultures. So in a minute I'll go through the exact process of the design process, the various steps, and we can maybe talk about at that point like how that overlaps with others, social emotional learning or what have you. So I will just say by way of just preparation, as you found, there's a lot in this workshop, a lot of new material. It's pretty fast paced. You're having to learn how to connect with Google. There's kind of technical issues. You're learning Mural. So it can be a little bit stressful, just kind of dealing with this. You have computer technical problems. Your computer crashed. So
you have problems even getting here.
getting here, let alone the transportation outside. So there's all kinds of stress issues, but there's quite a bit here to deal with. But just kind of hang in there, kind of go with it, so because I think it's very rewarding. You'll find that there's really a lot of really great, stuff here to learn, and it is a learning curve. So we'll just kind of hang in there, basically. So let's see. Let me just change the screens here. I'll give a little bit of an overview of how the design thinking process, the different steps in it, and we'll present that to everyone. So hopefully you're able to see this now. So this is the model based on the Stanford Design School, their introduction to design thinking. So this is the steps for human-centered design. And as an educator, you're familiar with all this anyway. It's just that they're, very specific and kind of lay out the process, in these steps. So the idea is, like I was mentioning, if you learn about anything, or you design for anything, you need to learn about your audience, who you're designing for, and find out what their needs are. So we want to find out, hey, what are your needs for empathy in the school? What are the problems you have? And then we want to, so we want to empathize with all the participants in the school, the students, the staff, the teachers, the community around the school. Like, what are their needs? And that's kind of an empathic process, to really listen and hear the deeper, maybe feelings and needs and pain and joys, for that matter, that they have. Then we want to define the problem. Like, what is the problem that we want to focus in on? And then the next step is what they call ideation, which is basically we're moving from an empathic process to more defined process, which is more analytical. And then we move into the ideation, which is creativity, right? We come up with a lot of different ideas. And then there's the prototyping, that a big part of human-centered design is to create prototypes, and not sit around, talking, trying to get everything perfect, but to learn through just creating something quickly and then to test it. So looking at this process from a little bit different viewpoint, the same process, the empathy is this opening, right? It's like when we empathize, there's kind of like no end. You can keep going deeper and deeper. So it's this opening or divergent process. And then when we have gathered all these different insights and stories, then we kind of hone in, start defining what one problem is within that field of insights that we've gathered. And then from there, we have maybe found one problem area that we want to work on. And then we brainstorm, a whole field of solutions. And again, the brainstorm is, if you get together brainstorm, you just keep brainstorming more and more and more. It can go on forever. But then at some point you bring that to an end, and then you hone in on one kind of area to prototype and to test. And another view of this is that human-centered design is an iterative process. So we start with going through the process, but once we've gone through one cycle of the process, we do it again and again and again. So if we're developing an empathic school culture, we're going to find out what a problem is. We're going to define that problem. We're going to brainstorm ideas. We're going to come up with a prototype, and then we're going to test it again with our users, the students, the staff, the whole community. And then we get feedback. We empathize with them how our prototype is working, and then we do it again and again and again and again. So it's this iterative process is kind of a big part of the design process, just doing it over and over again. So that's a little bit of an introduction. I thought I would check in, like, how is everyone doing? Like a little bit of an empathic check-in, like, how are you feeling in the moment with all this that you've taken in? Like, if you'd like to just share, maybe I'll even do a little bit of empathic reflection to connect us here. Vince, would you like to just begin sharing? Oh, your microphone looks like it's not connected. You're gonna have to connect the microphone. Maybe if you have the headset.
Is it plugged in still?
Still can't hear you.
Still don't hear you. You may need to go up to the settings and.
Technology. These are the challenges, right?
That's what I was talking about. There's, we're dealing with juggling a lot of it. The technology really adds a little bit of bit of stress and the barrier.
Edwin, do you foresee a time when the technology wouldn't be such a barrier. This is part of, what I find too, is there's such a barrier to actually being able to connect, and I'm wondering what it would take, or what does anybody think it will take for us to be able to do this with ease, you know?
Yeah, it's like, so what I'm hearing there is you're just wondering if the technology is ever going to be at a point where it's just easy to use the technology without the pain involved.
Where it doesn't interfere, right?
Hmm. Where it doesn't kind of get in the way. Yeah. So, yeah, I find that technology keeps getting better, and there's also a learning curve, that once we kind of learn, like I've gotten pretty comfortable with this process. So, okay, Vince, we're hearing you now. Yep.
You hear me breathing, you mean?
Hi, by the way.
Okay, so I'm ready to start.
Okay, so I'm hearing you're ready to go. You're just feeling energized, maybe, and ready to go. I don't know if I'm putting words in your mouth there with the energized, but
it's okay. Yeah.
Okay, great. And Jackie or Carla, how are you?
Oh yeah, I'm ready to proceed, and I'm not too stressed about any of this right now. I feel pretty comfortable right now with where we're at, and eager to hear what each person's wanting to share.
And I feel I feel like I understand all that you've been sharing, more or less, a little bit, and so I'm ready to proceed.
Okay, so everybody's ready to proceed. Great. I feel excited. I feel kind of happy to be with educators, fellow educators. It's really for me. It's a nice feeling and people who really value empathy. So I feel like I'm with the choir.
Yeah. I have something I wanted to share that came up while the last screen about the process of empathy and creating the prototype and the designing process. And I realized something that, sort of, there's so much of this has been very intuitive for me. It's just a sort of a natural way for me, and I imagine for other people there must be some sense of that too. But when I designed I designed a leadership and well-being and critical thinking course that all of my students took. It was something that actually went through that process, and each year I would go through that and reevaluate, gather all the data from the people that were using it, the students, the teachers, and every year it became a little bit different, as a result of that. So I think it absolutely was a prototype that I have been working on, and at this point in time, where we're at with it, Carla and I have a curriculum that
formalized it in a way that Jackie never had
before, because I think I hadn't been really ready since I was still revising,
still prototyping and refining it.
Totally went through that process, and I just had never considered. I hadn't thought about it that way, but I really like having that kind of
framework, maybe.
Yeah, that's what it is, a framework. Yeah.
Yeah, it gives you, it's stuff we're kind of doing naturally anyway, and educators already are very familiar with this, but this is a very conscious, specific framework.
Exactly.
And then they're giving you tons of tools too. There's all kinds of a whole tool set that's kind of there to support, and that's what we're going to be going through. Is in fact, this process that we're doing here, Mural, is another tool for this whole design process.
Is that a tool that the Human Design Center came up with, or was it sort of independent?
It's independent, but the person who is the founder of it was actually, I think, had worked with IDEO before, so they're connected.
Not that independent.
Yeah.
Per se.
So we can.
Can I ask a technical question? So I turned our video on. Obviously, you noticed that. And I see it's double wide for us, even though we're only one computer. Is that Google Hangouts? Do they have face recognition and expand it on its own that way?
No, it naturally does widescreen. So I guess your camera just supports widescreen.
Because you and Vincent are half the size of ours.
Huh.
Do you see that?
It's.
Because that's me. Let's see.
Mhm.
No, we're not double wide. You
Yeah,
have your own.
who
Oh,
has
you're
one
saying
computer?
we're together in
Yeah.
our screen because we are together.
I mean, right. And you know what I'm saying? I mean, it looks like we're 4 separate computers, but we're actually 3.
Yeah. I think this is the standard. This is kind of naturally how it works. So there's nothing really unique. So like,
You're only half as wide as we are. Anyway, I'm
oh, okay.
curious. No big deal.
Hmm.
Let's go on.
Okay. So we want to do in the mural, you'll see it says next page. You want to click on the next page, or let me put in the chat window in the side here, there's a link to page 2 of the
Click
mural.
on the next page.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
Hopefully that will, I see some. Is that opening? So you can also in the chat window, oh yeah, I see Vincent, you are there. Oh, there we go. I see Jackie's popped up. So this is our second page, work page here. And I'll actually share that here so we can also see it in the window and present to everyone. So whoa, lost our, that was weird. Let me see if I can get this back here. Somehow there was some images up here and they just disappeared. Let me just reboot this for a second. Okay, so we're at the empathy step here, step 1. And we're at the very first step is we want to start our design process. So we have our design challenge. So the human-centered design starts with a challenge. So there's a question. And our challenge is how might we design an empathic culture in our school? And that's the project we're working on. And we're at the empathy step 1 now. And the first part of empathy, to empathize, is to interview people. And we want to interview each other because we're going to co-design on this challenge. And we're going to need some questions to ask each other to interview each other. And so I have some sample questions here is, for example, what are painful or uncomfortable feelings you have in your school, and how might empathy help address that? So we really want to find, what are struggles students, teachers, or ourselves, for that matter, have around empathy in the schools. Also, what are positive or fulfilling feelings you have in your school, and how might empathy help accentuate it, to make it even better? You're feeling happy, how can we be even happier? So tell me an actual story about these experiences. So with human-centered design, there's different interviewing techniques. We can just ask for stories. We can look for problems, related feelings, and unmet needs, met or unmet needs. We can use empathic listening, as we're all familiar with. When we do an interview, we can just listen and reflect, and that will open people up. There's another process called the 5 whys, which is we can say, what is important to you in your school? And someone will say, well, I find learning is important. Then you say, well, why is learning important? Well, learning really brings connection. Well, why is connection important? Well, connection just feels really good. Well, why do you want to feel good? So that's like another technique. So there's a lot of different interviewing techniques, but they all start with some initial questions. And what we want to do here is to, if you can see here, everyone write at least one question that you could ask. So in the mural, we want, you can move to the mural page and move to the section where it says everyone write one question we could ask. So what are some questions? And Carla, since you only have one computer, if you want to say it out loud, I can write it for you while Jackie.
Okay.
Do you have a question you'd like to ask?
Let me think for a minute.
Okay, sure.
I understand a little bit about, so I guess I want to say it's been a while since I've been an educator in a school. So are we trying to really design a school? This is really trying to design a school.
Asking questions.
I understand. I'm trying to figure out what kind of a question I want to ask.
Yeah, it's like we're asking. We're going to be interviewing each other, so you know, maybe
So what
we're
would
not.
I like to know about somebody else's experience in this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, for me, if I'm to clarify for myself, like for instance, Jackie and I's interest is helping schools get a better social emotional curriculum in their schools. So our questions would be related to finding what their need is in that arena. Is that what you're saying?
Well, we have a project here. We're looking at how do we create a school empathic culture.
Right.
So we have our framing, like if we're going to a school, how do we create an empathic culture? And we're wanting to that's kind of what they call the scope, right? That's the area that we're kind of.
I don't see that anywhere on this mural frame. Is that somewhere I'm not seeing? Is that up there?
It's right at the very top is our design challenge.
Bring it lower.
I'm going to put it in green and kind of make it even bigger.
Oh, there it is.
Our design challenge, how might we design an empathic culture in our school or in schools?
Okay, so a question would be,
the problem I have with mural is it's such a wide frame that when we get big enough to see the whole thing, it's hard to read the little print.
Yeah, you have to zoom in. You can zoom right in so you're constantly zooming in and out and moving around, but it's.
Yeah, I know.
And since you're both working on one computer, if you just throw some questions out, I can write them in there too.
That would be better for us because we're fighting over who's controlling the screen. Okay, question I would have is.
Well, I was even hearing what are the struggles you have with empathic technology was one, right? Like what are the problems you have with empathy and
technology? Yeah.
And technology. Is there any others? I can write those in just to come off the top of your head. Or I even heard like about social emotional learning, like how does social emotional learning, what struggles do you have with that?
Even are you interested, is in that school, is there any interest or any already involved, things going on in the school that are about teaching those things? Is it something they even want? Is there something, is there an interest in teaching that?
Or even more basic, what is the value of empathy? Or you have that. Why is empathy important in schools? I see that was one of your questions.
Okay, so the first one was, do you already have empathy and SEL programs? What do you see as the importance of empathy? Anything else?
Yeah.
Well, I think there's something along the lines of you had in here. Tell me a story.
Okay.
But what I wanted to know is kind of what well, something about how the students, how do the students feel about interacting, or how do they interact with each other? How do they feel about each other? Um,
Well, what more like what's happening currently in schools?
I know bullying, bullying's one thing, but there are other issues too, I think. You know, alienation, there's suicide, is there suicide issues?
Uh-huh.
Just
What issues could empathy help
help
with?
with, yeah, or would, yeah.
What issues could empathy help with?
So the other piece too is what does whoever it is that I'm asking is how do they, when they hear that word empathy, what do they think of?
And since we're teachers here, we also want something about what's our experience with teaching, trying to teach empathy in schools.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you think teachers do try and teach empathy?
I'm looking at us as 4 people here because we're wanting to kind of co-design, so we want to find out personally what our experiences is with teaching.
So are we
So we're
asking us
each other, yeah.
these questions?
Yeah, we're going to ask each other.
I thought we were asking teachers in schools, like going to our audience.
We're trying to create something we can do with each other here.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could be like designers who then go to the teachers, right, and then ask them, but we're kind of actually wanting to co-design something ourselves. So there's almost like the how do we even market empathy, right? It's like how do we, convince? How do we?
Yeah. Okay. Now that I see that framework, the questions are going to be different.
How do we market empathy as, I don't know, trainers, something like that?
Well, maybe. What's the common definition of empathy?
Well, or if we're marketing, I think it's what do we have? Yeah, we're trying to find out what our definition.
Yeah.
What do we think it is together, and something we're going to create together. I guess since we're talking about us too, I think I'd like to know maybe what are the experiences that each of us have had in trying to market this or try to influence people around what's needed or what we have to offer to them. So, because that would be important to me to hear what kind of experiences everyone's having with that.
What sort of experiences have you had with marketing? Marketing empathy or marketing empathy. Okay, I think that's enough questions. Those are just to kind of stimulate us here. So let me put down here. So what we're going to do is interview each other for, so we'll say Jackie interviews Carla. Carla interviews Vince. And V-I, so how did I spell your name? V-I-C, sorry.
E, add an E.
And E.
Yeah.
And then Vince interviews Edwin, and then we'll go back around. And I'll interview Jackie, and we want to, I'm going to delete all these other ones. Just 1 second. Okay, so let me get a timer up here.
Did we lose Jackie or Edwin? You're not in there.
Oh, I was going to be first. Oh, okay, then.
Well, maybe you are first then.
No, let me duplicate. I should have put my name in there. Yeah, so. Edwin. Then we'll continue around and I'll interview Jackie. So that's it. Okay, so let me get the timer going here. Okay, so Jackie, you will interview Carla about whatever. It's open. Those are some questions that were there for that you can use or not use. Those are just there for inspiration. You can play it more by ear if you'd like, and then Vince and I will take notes. We will, and so we'll kind of demonstrate how that is. So we're going to take notes here about your interview, what you ask, and what the comments are. So,
Okay.
So anyway, we're ready to go. Start. You got 5 minutes to interview Carla.
Okay. So Carla, can you tell me when you hear that word empathy, what does that mean to you?
To me, empathy means relating to another person in a way that helps me understand how they view the world. Trying to understand life from their perspective.
Okay. So helping you to understand how they
perceive the world.
things. Okay. And as it relates to education, what has been your experience in the field of education about how empathy plays a role or doesn't play a role?
Well, my experience has been that it's very sporadic and it really depends on the teacher. Some teachers have more innate empathetic qualities than others. Most have received little to no training actually in empathy, so it's just kind of a random thing. If a teacher has that experience and exposure through whatever reasons, then they're going to have a classroom that's probably a little more involved, a little more like really wanting to, because the teacher cares for the students and understanding them, that the students want to please and understand their teacher as well. So I think there's a mutual circle that happens when empathy is present. But I think that most classrooms are run from a more authoritarian, I'm the leader, you're the followers, and you do what I say, and it's not so important how you feel, you need to learn this sort of a perspective.
So am I hearing you saying that when it happens, kind of happens based on the teacher having some abilities that they bring, and that it grows as a result of student and teacher relating to each other in that way, but most teachers don't have an ability or have never learned it or don't know if it doesn't see it as a fit, and so it's not happening as much as
yes
it could. Okay. And so based on that, how would you imagine, do you think there's an interest in it, I guess? Does that mean there's...
My guess is that there's it's one of those things, you don't know what you don't know. And we, teachers have so been indoctrinated, I think, in the I lecture, you listen model, where empathy doesn't play a very big role, that it's a lot of reschooling and re-educating and exposure. I think empathy recently is gaining some public exposure as something valuable, so we have that to our advantage now. Before that, I think it would have been even more of an uphill climb, but I think with that exposure of empathy in the mass media, we have a window to really bring some awareness and insights to schools to try and maybe see if there's a better way to reframe a classroom.
Mm. So there's a new surge or interest in empathy as a concept or as a topic.
An idea, yeah. It's an idea
idea.
that seems to be gaining a momentum in our culture.
Okay. So what have been your experiences in trying to bring this to schools? Have you found some things that were successful for you?
Well, for me, the interesting thing that I found in our process of marketing to schools is that every school we've been to, when we share our social emotional curriculum and our human-centered approach, everyone, especially the principals, say, this is great, we really need it. Every parent I've talked to says, this is great, we really need it. So I believe that there is a strong understanding that there is a gap for this in schools and in our culture right now. However, seems to be a momentous shift to actually say, let's do this, because then I think there's a lot of fear based on what's it going to do to my test scores? Am I going to be trying something that doesn't work? It's fear of the unknown, trying something new, that kind of thing. And so my experience is that while there's a great desire for it, there's also a fear of actually diving in.
Mm. So it's wanted, but it's also a scary thing for people, even those who want it.
It seems that way to me. I mean, I don't know if it's our approach or something else, but
okay. Well, when you say maybe it's our approach or it might be our approach, you have some idea about that? I'm saying, what tells you that our approach might be something to look at?
Well, I mean, people are saying no, so that's one possible reason they could be saying no. I mean, they say time, they say money, they say district, rules, etc., or they say it's untested, or they just don't connect with what we're selling. I mean, that's just one idea or possibility of a list of possibilities as to why it's not a yes.
So you don't really know for sure, but there's some possibilities you're imagining that might be things to look at. Why it's not a bigger hit.
Yeah, I mean, with the enthusiasm for the concept, why is it not actually gaining momentum is the question.
Okay, that was our time. We will go a little bit longer, maybe about 8 minutes, since we're a smaller group.
Okay.
So great. So Carla interviews Vince, and go ahead and start. And Jackie and I will take notes here under Vince.
Now, are you taking notes on paper or are you taking notes on the screen?
We're taking notes in these little boxes, in these.
This could be a little challenging for Jackie, I guess. Because we're using the computer.
Yeah, I guess do the best, or if you want to take it on paper and then transfer it, that's another approach.
That might work for me.
Okay.
All right. So, hi, Vincent.
Hi, Carla.
Is that how you pronounce your name, Vincent?
Well, you may say Vincent, like in English. I mean, no, I pronounce it a little different, but no big deal.
How do you pronounce it?
I pronounce it like Vicens.
Vicens. Okay, thank you.
Wow. Oh, excellent.
So, Vicens, do you already have any empathy or SEL programs in your school?
Well, more than, well, at this point, this year, I'm not in a school. I am more like a consultant for the local Department of Education. But what we do, we have like restorative practices programs. and they are quite successful, I would say, at least the training part. Then the implementation part is like more difficult because like I see that many teachers tend to be eager to receive training, not so much to implement what they have been trained to do.
Well,
I
that's
don't know if that's
interesting.
clear.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I can see why that might be the case. What grade levels are your teachers that are getting this?
K to 12.
Okay. Um, so why do you think they are having challenges taking it from theory to practice?
Well, probably. I mean, if you have worked in a school, you know that the life in a school is hectic. So many things happen every day, all the time. So if you haven't really planned to do something, you don't do it. At least that's my experience. Uh, so that's one thing. So I think that many teachers would like attend the trainings. They love them. They say this is so useful, this is great, it was so much fun, and so and so. But then they are a little afraid of putting things into practice. That's I mean, I remember myself like when I did like the first circles with my students, and I thought, what are they going to say? I mean, I was afraid that they were going to think that I was like going crazy. So you
Hmm.
need to be brave, I would say, at the beginning, and then you see that students love it. But so you so I think that the problem is that probably if teachers don't like start like jump into the swimming pool. I mean, if they don't start swimming, uh, I mean, very fast, they just like forget, and they like, I don't know, and things go on in their minds, and they just don't practice. And then it's these things. I mean, you can participate in a training, but if you don't practice, like if you don't live it, if you you don't experience it, I mean, you don't understand it really.
What do you think you could do in the training that might help teachers overcome that hurdle?
Well, I mean, clearly, I mean, what I need to do, I'm not sure it's possible, but what I think needs to be done is to really ask teachers to do specific practices between training days, so they really feel compelled to do that. However, I mean, you need to be really
Give them
motivated
homework
to do that.
assignment
Sorry, I'm losing you a little bit.
so they now?
Uh,
Hello?
I'm not sure what you said, Carla.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me
No,
now?
perfectly.
Okay. So are your trainings are designed with gaps between that you could offer homework assignments that might help them um, motivate them to give it a try? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That would be the idea, but that would just work with very motivated people. So I mean, I'm unsure. I'm not sure about what to do because my experience is that like intensive training is best for
Yes.
general people. I mean, because if you say, this week we are going to meet 3 times, or in 2 weeks, 3 times, so it's okay. But if you like expand it a lot, like we're going to meet 5 times in 5 months. I mean, when you go like the fourth time, they say, already here? So I don't know. I don't know. It's a challenge. I mean, if you are very motivated, the best thing I think is to really use these gaps and give this homework. But generally, I don't know. I don't know. I'm struggling with this.
It sounds like it's a challenge. I can relate to Jackie and I have done training similarly, and we understand what you're going through. Let me ask you, um, is your trainings that you're doing, do they have any technology involved with them, or is it strictly face-to-face?
Yeah, so far it's strictly face-to-face. I am designing my first training via video conference because I live in an island in Mallorca, and I want to train people who are in another island in Menorca, and I mean I could fly there, but yeah, I'm planning some training with them using video conference, but I have never done that before. So I don't know. I mean, I'm planning for them to be all of them in one room and in a circle, and I'll try to do like the same activities I would do if I was there, but I don't know. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
Okay,
Tell
well,
you.
that was it for the time. Uh, so, so we're going to, you will now interview me.
Okay.
The name is a struggle. I want to pronounce it the way you say it, but
No problem. No
Easy.
problem.
so
Well,
okay.
the expert just pronounced it for you.
Can you say that again,
Carla, Vicente.
Carla?
Yeah, Vicente. But it's okay. It's okay. Believe
Okay,
me. No problem.
be
No
sense.
problem.
If I say be sense. Okay.
That's 10 out of 10
Okay.
or
So,
100
be
out of
sense,
100.
you will interview me, and it
Yes.
sounds like Carla and Jackie, you'll take notes on paper or try on the computer, whatever works for you.
All right.
Maybe Carla will try on the
I'll
computer
try.
and I'll take it on paper.
I'm not sure
Okay.
how it works, but I'll give it a go.
Take it away. That's first.
Okay, my friend. So I don't know if you like to picture yourself in a school or in another environment you are more familiar with. But I like you to imagine that you like you belong to it to I don't know. Maybe that you see yourself in school. That would be easier for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that you see yourself in school and that you enter a school and you get into the school and you see, and this is a school where empathy has been part of the school for, I don't know, like 6 7 years now, and I'd like
Mm.
to know what you are seeing or hearing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I walk into the school and I see I'm greeted. Someone comes up and they greet me, and they say, "Oh, welcome to the school. So nice to see you today." And then it then sort of guided into the beginning. That there's like a beginning circle. Like we come into like doing little empathy circles. So there's a room where I sit down, and there's 3 other students, and there's a room where the students are getting into small groups, and they have the questions, what is, how are you doing? And we begin with some empathic listening about how are we doing. And so I sit down and I say, oh, I feel really sad because my dog just died. So I have this pet dog. Oh no, I have a pet turtle, and my pet turtle just died. And I feel really sad that my pet turtle died. And then we're speaking, and then there's someone that I'm speaking to with using empathic listening. They say, "Oh, okay, I hear your turtle died." So we begin with a session of 20 minutes of empathic listening to become tuned in to how we're feeling in the moment and to be heard about that. And I share my feeling about my turtle dying, and then someone is there to listen to me, and they're all very experienced in having done this. And they listen to me, and I shed some tears about my turtle dying because I was really liked my turtle, and I feel like really emotional about it. And then afterwards I feel better because, oh, I was heard, I was able to express it, everyone in, and these other 3 or 4 other students, they heard my story and they're aware of how I'm doing internally. And
Excellent.
then,
Sorry.
I could go through a whole day.
Oh, go.
Okay, no,
Be
that's
my
it. No. So, but then we do a design project. That this school is around design, so we have some design projects going that we can take part in. Like we're doing a design project to redesign the school, and we're taking part in we're doing a design project around how do we create a more empathic play time. And then, so I joined my team of 6 other students, and we are going around and we're interviewing other students about their experience with playtime, the recess, and then we're working on creating some proposals of how we can make a more empathic playtime. So that's like a couple-hour class or project that we do together. So those are just some things. So this is like a design. The school has moved to being more of a design project-oriented sort of a school rather than strict everybody listening just to the teacher. It's more participatory. So that's it to begin with.
Okay. So there is this greetings when you arrive, then
Mm-hmm.
this empathy circle with people really listening empathically, and then uh, even instruction is designed around a dialogue and around like doing things together. And in this particular project, you're working on empathy and empathy during playground time.
Mm-hmm.
And anything else about what you see or hear?
Well, I feel the space, and it feels very warm and relaxed. I feel,
Uh-huh.
I can really relax. I had like a hard time at home. I felt kind of tense, and the whole environment is just very relaxing and calming. So I feel better just kind of being in the space, and I'm looking forward to the project that we're doing on the playground. It's using human-centered design. We're learning how to do human-centered design. We're interviewing the other classmates. We're creating empathy maps of the students and what their needs are in terms of playtime. And we're looking for some kind of projects some things to design for the playground that will foster, more better connection and more fun and enjoyment for the other students.
Okay, so there is warmth and there is this feeling of relaxation and probably openness to work
Yeah.
with this project because you feel listened to. I see. And now I'd like you to move to a like teacher role and to tell me what you see like being a teacher. Not so much, I mean, with teacher, well, with student-teacher relationship, but also teacher-teacher relationships.
Oh yeah, so the teacher. Well, I've been really irritated with one of the other teachers who I think hasn't been treating me well. So we have lunchtime, and we have a typical thing like if you have an issue, and I'm really happy that I have this issue because in the class, I mean in this school, we value conflict. It's like there's big signs up that says conflict is good, but transform it with empathy. So we're not afraid of conflict. We actually are looking for the conflicts that we have because we know that conflict is good for creativity. So we have this kind of this listening session where we do sort of a restorative practices about working through the issue that we have. So I bring it up. I just say, well, I feel like you're kind of ignoring me, and I feel kind of pain about that. And we sit and we have some other teachers who are there to kind of support the circle, to be empathic presence. And we dialogue about it, and we come up with some new insights about who we are and some ways of addressing this problem. So, yeah.
So conflict is welcome, and you are very like and there is, I mean, you are really eager to join a circle to talk about these conflicts when they come up. And so, what about parents? I mean, you
Oh,
are a parent in this school.
well, we're gonna have to hold that one
Okay.
because we just ran out of time here. And so I'm going to. Well, that was a lot of fun. Yes, I like that approach. And so
Hey,
I'm actually, yeah.
I tried to type in the
I just
boxes.
fixed it. I think you can type now. No?
No, I
It's
don't
not.
know how to eat. I mean, I'm clicking on the box. I'm trying to click on the T for text, and I'm not getting. I can't type, so I don't know
Um,
what's
hmm.
going on. Move to another box.
So,
Maybe click. Yeah, we've got like a blue circle around a box. It brings up a toolbar of
right.
move, right? But I'm not able to do anything.
Is there? There's no cursor comes up in the middle.
Nope.
Let me see. I'm gonna create another. I just created. If you can, if you. Let me just see if I can move. Do you see? I just created a new box. I'm just wondering if does that box work? I wonder if it's.
I
No,
don't see a new box.
I can write with no problem.
Oh,
I'm doing these H's, no problem. Sorry.
Yeah, what box did you create?
oh, on the to the right a little bit. If you move over to the right, those. Or you can even click if you just on the white space. Just double click on the white space. It'll create a new box. I just wonder if a new post-it.
Nope. I don't know what mode we're in, but it's not. I can move things around. There's a box that we've created and it won't go away. It's
How
got.
about we delete it?
You can try deleting it.
Put the cursor on it.
Yeah, we can't delete it. It's just kind of sitting off to the right under.
Move it off.
I can't move it. I can't do anything with it, and I think it's holding us from being able to actually be.
Type in this. Yeah.
Okay, so if you go to the the left, and there's let me just see where you are, and
Oh, on the left. Oh, is that how you control it?
Oh, well, on the far left is you can pull up, you can open a post, you can create, you can drag and drop post-its, or yeah, I'm just really not sure what. Is this a Mac or a PC? I'm just.
This is a PC.
A PC. Maybe you could try refreshing the page. Maybe that'll release something.
No, there was another place to.
It's okay. All right. We've refreshed the page.
Okay.
Now if yeah, that thing went away, but now I just double clicked on one of the yellow boxes, which is what I did the first time, and it's created
another
that thing.
Blue square.
Oh, now I got a cursor. Now I can type.
Okay.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, great. So it looked like maybe a refresh of the page then.
Yeah. Is this the one you created off to the right here?
Yeah, if you right click, I mean, if you double click on the white space, it'll create a post-it for you too.
See.
But we don't need that now.
But yeah, you can, yeah.
All right.
Okay, so then I'm interviewing Jackie, and we're moving over to the left, so you can type into the boxes there. Okay, are we ready? Oh.
Yeah. Just FYI, I'm going to need to take a break after our interview for a few minutes.
Okay, sure, me too. Okay, well, let's begin. And you heard the story. I really enjoyed that story. And so imagine you're in that situation and what is the perspective that the last question was about, the perspective of a parent or a teacher? No, was it, which one was it?
Parent.
It was a parent. What is the perspective of the parent in that environment? If you'd like to just, what comes up for you as you imagine yourself in that environment?
Well, I've been in a couple different kinds of environments in schools, and I, as a parent, also really appreciate a welcoming. And I want to be included in my students, my child's education, and I like it when I feel like I'm a partner in that. So when I come into the school, I like that staff there in the office, and that the teachers and the students acknowledge me and say hello to me, and that if I would like to visit a classroom, that I'm encouraged to be in there, just to see how things are going. I like that there might be a responsibility that I can do to volunteer and help with the school, and that when I am involved, that people value what I have to say, that I'm not considered sort of an outsider, but that just because I'm a parent doesn't mean I don't understand things about education, that I have wants for my students that I would like to have met. And my story actually is that when I found a charter school for my son, and it was a middle school program, and when I was treated that way and allowed to be involved and valued, and as a result, a need became apparent that they wanted to have a program that would help students to learn and develop social emotional skills, and I made a proposal to teach it. That was welcome, and I got a job part-time at the beginning of my leadership program. That was the emerging beginning of the leadership program that I have defined.
I'm having a horrible time with this.
And as a parent, I would enjoy being on a board or in an advisory capacity where and considered a stakeholder and had opportunities to give my input. And we did that in a kind of an interesting way. It was a circle. Circles were part of that, where we were able to listen to each other and hear. And we did something that's sort of like what we're doing on here, but we didn't have this capacity. So what we did is we went around in a room and put post-it notes on things that were being considered, and how everybody got to put their ideas down and
Okay, so
into the mix.
Oh, you're breaking up a little bit there. So what I was hearing, that there was actually, as a parent, you did actually, you actually had a school, or this is what you would want, is that when you would come to the school, that someone actually greets you, that you're included, that you're seen, and that you're valued for what you can contribute, that you're and that that in the school that you were in, that you actually did, they did actually value you. You were part of the process, and it actually turned into they hired you to be offer some sounds like social emotional learning work. And so was there any kind of pain that you had within that? Is there kind of a pain point that you had within that whole process? That's something that, it sounded like it was very nice, but was there any kind of problems around that?
Well, as a parent, I didn't have painful experiences as a parent, but as a staff person, once I was a staff person, there were a lot of issues that came up, and they were difficulty. Let's see, how can I say this? I think what happened in this school, and happens a lot of times in schools, where there's a lot of concern about the kids, very compassionate and loving, and empathic and really want to relate well with children, that the staff doesn't receive that same treatment. That's
Oh,
not
wow.
how the staff is treated. They're sort of expected to fend for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and in that school particularly, and I have seen this in other schools as well, that the person that's, that has the loving, usually it's the principal, the director, the person in charge, has this vision for kids, but when they deal with their staff, they're not able to pull it off.
Wow.
And maybe some of the things that Vincent was talking about too is the difficulty teachers have either in participating and receiving that kind of an environment as well, knowing how to put it into the mix. And I think there's tension that occurs between the director, the principal who has this vision and wants this so badly, and the lack of ability in the teacher to pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
There's a huge gap there, and that's very painful for people.
Oh, wow. That is big. That's like a huge pain point there. It's really about how the teachers feel supported and feel empathy for them, or between the relationships and with the administration. So it's really about how do you create a whole school, empathic school for all the participants, how they can all be empathic towards each other.
Exactly.
And it's not just, just for the kids, and everybody else is like self-sacrificing.
Well, it's not going to happen for the kids if the staff don't feel it too, and don't supported in coming from that. So, and that's been the part of this that I have come to understand for myself, is just how important it is for the staff to receive the same kind of, what we would give the kids, we've got to give the staff. And so that's why this business emerged for me, because I just thought I haven't done a good enough job. I don't think I did a good enough job with that when I was the person that I'm, the director of the school, and when I was in charge. So that's remaining with me.
Okay, well, that's our time. That's a big one. So I was hearing some problem with the typing in there. We can take a pause now, and we just need, it looks like we just need whatever your notes were for me, if you're able to type those in.
I don't know what the challenge is here with Mural. Like, sometimes I'm like I just now was able to type something, but I tried many times during the process and I couldn't do it. So this is very frustrating for me, for sure.
Okay, so just having frustrations.
And I'm a technical person. I'm, like I said, I was a software engineer, so if I'm having challenges, I don't understand what it is about this design that's being so difficult for me.
Okay, we can. I having done a lot with technology too, I know you just have to keep hacking away at it to kind of try to figure it out. So, what is the situation then? So you're like if you're on the section like on where my name is, and are you able to type into any of those boxes?
Okay, so I'm over at Jackie right now, and somehow I got in now. I just typed in some things, so that somehow I got in there. So I'll try. Okay.
Okay. One thing I'm thinking
I was able to. I handwrote them.
You could turn off your video, because sometimes your audio is breaking up, so it could be partially a bandwidth issue, I'm guessing. So there's a button.
If
you take
Hangouts.
Yeah, in Google Hangouts, you could just do without the video. It might give more bandwidth. Is just one idea. Yeah, there we go. So we can try that, see if that has any effect.
All right. All right. Are we going to take like a 5-minute break now?
Yeah, let's take a break, and we can come back. 5-minute break.
Okay.
I'm going to rush off to the restroom too.
All good? On a 5-minute break.
Okay. So what did you guys decide to do about the typing?
Okay, well, he suggested turning the video off on the Google Hangouts. So it might be affecting the bandwidth, which was making everything just delayed, which might have been the problem. So we're going to try that now.
So are you typing now?
Yeah, I'm typing notes.
This is for Edwin to interview.
Yeah, no, it's yours actually. And this is Jackie.
Okay.
Typing. Is empathic not a word?
Sometimes they want you to say empathetic. That's both words. Emphatic, empathetic.
Emphatic.
Empathetic.
So empathic is not a word.
I think it is.
I moved to a new box and I'm still having the same problem.
And it's the same if you create a new box, like if you double click
No,
on
I'm not
the.
trying to create a new box. I just want to type in the existing box there. I don't know why. It's like there's a problem, the gap, and now I'm there again.
Your So it's like sometimes it's working and then sometimes not. Is that the? Sounds like it's kind of inconsistent.
Yeah.
What's the difference in the size of the boxes?
I don't know. What is the why is there a structure of 2 small boxes, 2 big boxes?
It's just give you different options. If you want a big box, there's no. It's just in case you whichever post-it you like more. They're kind of they should be the same in terms of the way they work. Okay, it looks like you had that one when staff is not supported empathically, so that one worked.
I've done 2. The one above
Okay.
it as well.
Oh, great.
All right,
Yeah, sorry about the, it's, I guess.
yeah, okay. Well, here's Edwin. I'm gonna get more coffee.
I don't know where your car was, but there weren't any marks. You were in. This is huge. So. Oh my God.
So, Vicente, if you want to write any kind of what you remember from the interview with me, we'll just get a few kind of notes.
That was actually me. He was interviewing you, so
Mm-hmm.
I took notes, but I mean, we only have one computer, so I can't type while Jackie's typing.
Yeah, I'm writing just some thoughts to what I recall. Okay, so that's probably enough. We don't need to get have every single thing. We can kind of move on to the next phase.
I know it takes me a long time.
Yeah, the larger the screen, like I have two 24-inch screens, so that really helps for working with Mural. Just to have huge space.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So
Otherwise,
laptops is a struggle. With a small screen. So.
Which is what most people have. So.
Yeah, nowadays, huh? A lot of people are just using their phones. So.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. Let me share the screen again, and you can see. I'll present to everyone. I'm going to clean up some of these blank post-its. And so what we're doing next is we have our interviews. So we've been through the empathy phase, and you can see we have all these different ideas, and what we want to start doing is sorting these ideas.
Can I
in
stop us for a
oh
second?
sure, go.
Just want to say that part of what happened for me while we were, listening to each other's interviews, I had an urge that I wanted to check out some of what I was hearing. I didn't get to do that really because, wasn't I wasn't the one doing the interviewing, but it just felt like it. I guess I felt like there were some things are missing in this that I would really like, is to have an opportunity to also check in and say, this is what I'm hearing, or is that right? Or to ask a question for clarity or something, that I didn't get to do when I was not the interviewer.
Okay, so when the interviews, where I'm understanding is when the interview is happening, there was something that was stimulated, some ideas or some questions that you would like to have followed up on.
Yes.
Uh, okay, so that would have kind of just made you, I mean, you just had that urge, or that's what you would have liked to have done, or would have
I wanted to
contributed?
interrupt and ask my question that I didn't
Okay,
do because I didn't want to interfere with
yeah.
what they're doing. But I guess, yeah, for me, it feels like a part that would be really helpful in understanding each other as we're going to work
Oh, well, here's the thing: is at that point you could have just written down your ideas onto a Post-it.
Oh.
So your insights and things that are coming up. Maybe I should have mentioned that as you're listening, you can write down other insights and say, "Oh, I have an idea about that," and post that insight there. So you could have, added to
So I
the.
could have written a thought down, but if I wouldn't be able to have an actual interaction at that point.
Right. Just because we want to keep, everybody has a certain amount of time. So,
But what if in terms of using this process, if I wanted to do this in a workshop setting, for instance, or if I, like what Vincent is talking about, is to design something where you could have a circle of people and be doing that. Would be possible to do that?
yeah, it's totally. There's you can change this any way around that works for you. For example, Rosa, someone that I work with, she does something called empathic inquiry, and as the facilitator, she just fields comments from different people and writes. She's the facilitator, and she's
Right.
laying out all the issues, writing up the issues like this. She's reflecting what she hears, then posting, and then the next anybody can speak, and then she posts, and then it kind of takes shapes. There's just different formats, and they're all you can structure any way that works for you, or try multiple ways. So, but
so as I get more comfortable and seem like I can actually use this format, there are things that could be done that I'm not able to do very well right now.
Yeah, we use Mural for that process. The design challenge was how might we address gun violence in America, gun violence.
Right.
And so somebody shared, like you just shared, and as facilitator, I would reflect back, plus write the idea here, and that's just a different interviewing method. And so those are all different approaches. I was just showing this one approach here. So. What our next step is, we want to start. We've got this whole field of insights, and let me. Oh, I should have more to back this up. Actually, so let me just take 1 second here. Make a backup of this so we have it for the record. And I'm just going to duplicate this one, and so we can go back and see what each person's interview. Because all these interviews we can use on our website as we co-design empathic school culture. So all this material is relevant as we keep designing and designing and designing. We gather all these insights and stories. So I think that's why I'm duplicating the page so we can come back as a reference. So we're now at the stage. If you're seeing in the Google Hangout, we want to start defining what a problem area is. And our first step to defining a problem area is to start finding some themes and sorting the insights that we have into themes. So I've got a heading down here, themes. I'm going to take this and Gonna move this up and let me duplicate it. And the next time we do this, it'll be much easier too, because it's quite a this learning curve with learning the process and getting the tools together. So we've got these themes. So of all the things that you heard here, what are some themes that are coming up for you? What are some kind of topic areas that? Does anyone have something like for me, it was about fear. Fear of empathy, etc. So I was just hearing this aspect of fear that really stood out for me.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else have a?
Well, also, I guess equal empathy treatment. You know, you know what I'm saying? If a school's going with empathy, it needs to be 100%, not just the students.
Okay, I just wrote down equal empathy for all. Let's say maybe.
And I think one of the things I guess that came up in this to me was this is about, I really don't want to call it training exactly, but it feels like that everyone needs to learn some things about how to do this, and it seems like we're skipping over this, that it's not, people may come with their capability, but they don't know they have it, or they don't know how to access it,
or they're afraid to
try, but there's some kind of lack of you know of teaching or learning how to be empathic.
So is it lack of skill or
Yeah, I think
ability?
lack of skill. I think everybody has the ability. I guess
Okay.
that, but I don't think that everybody, even knows that they have it, or that they don't have enough experiences of success with it, or they don't have permission. There are a number of things that keep us from accessing that, or I was thinking about what Vincent said about the challenges to the teachers, and I see that too, that same dynamic that he talked about, how to help them be braver, or take courage to try something that they don't feel good at, that they're not capable of, but yet, or they don't have the, I guess it's a skill level. I would certainly say that.
Okay, so I wrote down here challenges for the teachers, lack of skill, permission. Vicente, did you have one? Oh, we're not hearing your voice. It's the audio's not working. Still not hearing you. No, still don't hear anything. If you go up to the settings, you can select your microphone. Is that?
Maybe the mute?
I don't see, usually the mute it shows it's on. And sometimes I've seen too where people it just doesn't work and they have to just leave Hangouts and come back in. So still not hearing you. You hear us? Yes, okay. Looks like maybe he left the call to reboot it. Okay, so we're totally frozen. Oh, we'll reset the computer. Okay, so it's resetting. So what we're wanting to do is we have these headings now, and we can create more. We have fear of empathy, equal empathy for all, better school climate and results, and lack of skills and permissions, and challenges for the teachers, like what challenges do the teachers face. And what we want to do is take all of these post-its that we have, these insights, and actually sort them. So, for example, appreciate welcoming and being acknowledged. And then we want to drag those down to kind of a category. We can create new categories too. So we're trying to sort these post-its into different topic areas. Okay, Vince,
Yeah, can you hear me
oh
now?
yeah, we hear you now. Great.
Yeah, I reset the computer. I don't know, something weird was happening. Maybe are we being spied?
Yeah, there's some
I don't know.
gremlin. There's some
Sometimes we don't know what they're doing.
Oh, so what we're doing is just starting to sort. We want to sort these into different categories. So let me see. The one we had was fear of being seen as crazy, fear of putting it into practice. So I'll take those and I'll move those over to the fear category over here. And so we can just start sorting these and into these different categories, or if you need a new category, you can just create a new category, a new theme. And here's some of these post-its that you can just rename, these kind of gray ones, as theme topics. And so we'll just keep sorting. No time, no money. It's almost like empathy for all, fear, lack of skill. I'm saying that like blocks. There's almost like blocks to empathy.
Yeah. That's good. I think that's right on.
And so I'm creating that one as a new heading. Because for me, that no time, no money for it is really a block to empathy. And,
Yeah.
and so I'm putting that over here more to the upper right. And this is where definitely a larger screen comes in, helpful. Oh, there's actual questions. We have a series of questions too, so we can actually post, make another heading for questions. I'm going to put all the questions in that heading. Questions. Okay, skills. So I kind of said like homework is a skill building. It's kind of like skill, lack of skill, or then there's kind of skill building.
Right.
So are you just taking some of the notes and reorganizing them under these categories?
Yeah, we're
Yes.
just sorting the exactly. So you can just drag and drop them to the over, and you can create more categories. We're just basically trying to find commonalities in what we've kind of what came up in the interviews.
This is really challenging to do something like this unless you have a really large screen.
Yeah.
Like we can't even read the details.
We maybe we have a screen. We don't have the projector capability, though, right? No.
Not to mention that there's a. I don't know. I guess maybe that would work. Yeah,
One person it would, but two of us it wouldn't.
Lots. Okay.
David has a gigantic screen.
Yeah, that really helps. These 24-inch, desktop screens are kind of ideal.
Is that what you have?
I have two of them.
So you can be a pro.
Yeah, that's.
Is that why you got it?
Yeah, well, I do so much online, and if you look at people who are kind of working professionally online, I mean, they usually have, especially like programmers and stock market folks, they all have at least two screens, two 24-inch screens.
Which category do you belong? Stock marketer or?
I used to be in the technology field, so
Okay.
so that was. But then for working online all the time, especially for doing workshops, like if you want to do a workshop online, you really gonna need like these large screens.
Right.
And they're really cheap. You can get them for $150 for.
Yeah, I have a friend who has 3 screens.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite common, I think.
Right.
2, not 3.
If you're trying to do things from far away.
Well, it's definitely a learning curve. This takes a bit to get familiar with this.
Probably good that there's only 4 of us.
It actually is. It's like it's actually 4 or 5 is actually an ideal amount of people.
And it seems like it's pretty important that each person has their own computer access.
Yeah, that too. So the ideal is 2 24-inch screens, individual computer access. Yeah.
We have the power. So Edwin, are you not live because of bandwidth issues?
I'm sharing my screen, so just so you can see my screen.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I see desire for it, but fear of the unknown. Those fears keep popping up. Everyone likes it, but it's what time we need. Big shift to actually do it. So that's like a block then for is time involved. Is fill in the gaps. Intensive training. So for skill building, intensive training is the best. I was hearing need to have practices. And okay, you have to live it. So you gotta so the block is there's a long list of long list of blocks. Okay, so projects, skill building. I think human-centered design would go under skill building. If so, restorative practices would be a form of skill building. Could okay, so that's pretty much, we can stop there just because of time. There's a few more outliers, but we can move on. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to hone in on one problem area that we want to work on. And so what is one area that really resonates with you out of all these? What is the kind of the most important one, do you think, to really address?
Let's see.
Okay, I can refer. So we have fear of empathy, equal empathy for all, so getting empathy for everyone, create better school climate and results. There's a lack of skills, permission, and skill building. There's a lot of questions, and there's opportunities and challenges for teachers. So those were some of the headings that we had. So which of these is really kind of speaks to you, kind of is, has the most energy? Or
one of the things I think I look at lack of skill permission and skill building is that it's similar. I mean, I feel like that's part of the blocks to empathy, to getting there. So if we combine those, that would be a lot to cover.
Okay, so I'm hearing that it's really, these could be started, we could start merging some of these, and it would be this kind of, I'll actually kind of bring those together then. I'm going to move this other one out of the way. And
I was trying to manipulate and I'm not doing a very good job.
I think he's doing it.
Well, we can. Okay.
Fear of empathy is another block to empathy.
Yeah, so we have like a larger, what I'm hearing there is there's a...
Yeah, these are like equal empathy for all in a way is a block because it's not happening.
Oh.
Yeah.
What is going on here? Okay, so I'm trying to get this done. So we have kind of this overall heading up here, which is blocks to empathy. And then I was hearing that lack of skill is a block, and that actually fear of
Fear is
empathy.
also a block, yeah.
So we're kind of looking. So we're really getting this whole series around the blocks to empathy. Let me
Can we move things closer together?
Yeah, I'm trying. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to bring them all under this one heading here, but even I'm having like problems on this screen. I'm gonna have to refresh this page. Let me just refresh.
So there is this theme about the problems and the blocks and so
Mm-hmm.
forth. But I see also the other theme about the opportunities and about how it creates a better school climate.
Right.
So we could go either way, I think.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
could look at the opportunities, yeah.
and I was a little struck about the opportunities, about this visibility that empathy is having, which wasn't having some time ago. And
Right.
and like when you talk about empathy to parents, they see it so clear. I mean, and so necessary. So I don't know if we have to choose.
Okay,
I,
so here's what I'm hearing is there. I'm putting two columns. One column is opportunities to empathy, for empathy, and then the other is the blocks to empathy. And there's a block is we have all these various blocks: the fear, the equal empathy for all, and lack of skills. So what we do is we want to create what they call a how might we question. We have our broader design challenge, how might we design empathic school culture, but we've kind of come up with a lot of different topics. We want to create new how might we questions for each of these. So I'll throw one out, for example, is how might we address the blocks to empathy. So that's just one reframing. So with the design process, what it does is it finds the problem, and the problem is that there are blocks for empathy, and it rephrases it as a how might we question, which kind of allows us to kind of have energy for addressing the problem. So how might we address the blocks to empathy? So do you have any other, would you phrase it differently? We can come up with a couple different reframing of that question or around the blocks.
Oh, how might we overcome
Okay.
the block? How might we remove the blocks to empathy?
How might we educate others on the value of empathy?
Okay. Would that be addressing the blocks, or would that be more the opportunities, or?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It kind of, I mean, how do you address a block through education? Isn't that, I don't,
Okay.
it seems like it would apply in either case.
Okay, great. So how might we educate? Could you say that again?
Others to the value of empathy.
Okay. So we've got a series of how might we questions here around this. I would even say how might we identify, how might we identify and address the blocks to empathy? And then address the blocks to empathy. So how can we kind of lay them out? So is there something around the opportunities, a question? Like we had, that was the other theme. Those were kind of
how take advantage of the popularity of empathy. Or the interest or whatever, yeah.
Popularity and interest. and empathy. Okay. Is there one more around that, or is?
Or maybe it's how might we create opportunities for empathy?
Okay, so we've got these, what, 5 questions here up at the top. Let me move those over. And so we're going to want to, does one of those, kind of move you? Which of these would we like to work on?
I like the first one.
Okay.
Take advantage of the popularity.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a way we can do it. We're gonna vote. So everybody gets 2 votes, and the way you vote is, you can see here if you're seeing the Google Hangout, is you click on a card to add a vote. So you see the 5 green questions. You click on it, and then that will vote for that. And if you shift click, it will subtract the vote, and your vote is secret. So you can just see how it works out. You'll see what my vote is. So I kind of like this: identify and then address the blocks to empathy, and I like that one there. So those are 2 that I'm voting for, and you can vote for 2 just by clicking on them.
We need to vote for 4.
Oh, that's right. Well, I guess each of you can vote for 1. Then we'll just, for time reason. That's right. See, there we need the other computer again. So
What do you vote for?
Oh, I don't know. I think maybe this one.
Yeah.
Okay, have you got them?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to end the voting session, and you can see we had 3 votes for how might we identify and address the blocks to empathy.
FYI, if I'd had the choice, those are the 2 I would have voted for.
Oh, there's 3 votes for each of those. Uh-oh.
And technically 4 for each, I think.
4 for each. We are in trouble here with
Tiebreaker.
Okay. Tiebreaker. So those are the 2. We can clean the votes, and we want to move this aside so we can do one more. Oh, so yeah. How are we going to break the tie since we can't all?
Are they?
We could take
so
a verbal.
Do we have all 3 votes for one and 3 votes for the other? Is that what happened?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't have a strong enough preference that it matters. I would go with either one.
Okay.
So.
Let's just, for time's case, we'll just go with the first one, address the blocks to empathy. So that becomes our new design challenge. And I'm going to make a copy of this. And we want to move to the next page. So if you go down to the bottom right and click on it, it'll open up the next page.
Oh, yeah, okay. Does it keep doing that? I wonder. There we go.
Okay, so I see. Oh, there we are. Everybody's there. So this would be the brainstorming phase. So you see it on this page as we have our design challenge. How might we identify and address the blocks to empathy? And we would go here into a brainstorming phase of each of us, brainstorming ideas. The way I like to do it is one person shares an idea, and then the next we do maybe start with the yes and, like I would say, we need to identify, let's create a directory of the blocks to empathy. and then the next person says yes and add something else. Like Vince, if yes and, what would you say to that, for example?
Yes, and do a journey map or a journey map of a student, a teacher, and a parent.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then Jackie, you say yes and.
I'm not sure what a journey map is, but is it like a survey or something?
Journey map, like you take note of what you do from entrance to exit based on several items. It's like you write every time you have a conflict.
Oh,
Yes.
you keep a log like kind of thing? A log of each interaction? Or?
Exactly.
Okay.
So you said a journey map of a parent, a teacher, and a student?
Along a day, along a school day.
Throughout the school day.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, yes, and include the administrator.
True.
That's Carlos.
I did it. I
Okay.
jumped ahead of Jackie.
Let me
Okay.
think what I want to do next with that. Okay. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Yes, and look and see what is similar and what is not the same for each. Let's find the commonalities and the unique aspects of their responses.
Okay, so what we would do is, we just have run out of time. So, oh, we still have 45 minutes. Okay, I forgot about that. We're going till for another 45 minutes. So we can actually do that is we go in and actually type in those ideas. So what we can do is always the idea, create a journey map of experience. The first one was, what were they? What were the other ones? I
Students,
forgot.
parents,
And
teachers, and administrators.
Journey maps. What were some of the other ideas we came up with?
What was yours?
Oh, mine was to look at their responses and see where they're similar or not similar, what their unique ones and what were the ones that were similar.
In common. What did you start this with, Ed, when you said your...
A directory. Create a directory. Create a directory of blocks to empathy and address each one. So what we can do here, that was just a kind of an example, but we can go through and if each one takes a one of these post-its, let me put up the, let me see, Jackie.
I'm trying to edit in one, and I don't know what.
Still having trouble?
Yes, it's very difficult.
So we can take maybe 5 minutes just to jot down any ideas, and then we'll share those. Let's just take 5 minutes and individually just jot down ideas and in your section. So and oh, and you don't have to say you have different computers. So yeah, you have. See, yeah. So I guess you'll have to share. I guess maybe it's easier if we just brainstorm verbally, since we don't have separate computers here. So, what are ideas? What other ideas does everyone have for coming up with ideas for addressing our challenge of how might we identify and then address I'm really saying that we need to identify, just lay them out systematically. We already had a bunch. What other ideas come out?
Observed classes, or observed classes, playground, like different spaces.
I didn't hear what you said, Vincent.
Make observations
Make observations, okay. You
of
mean like
different
of what you're seeing going on with people?
I would say like a debrief, that we would do like a round of interviews with each other and really hear what, because we're looking at kind of the blocks to empathy for like trainers, and how do we market and get the word out, you know. And I know a support group, a empathy trainers support group for addressing blocks.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That we get together every couple of weeks and we talk about blocks that we had and kind of get empathy for the blocks, and then take one block and work through it. You know, kind of find strategies for addressing that block. You can just throw ideas out, whatever comes to mind, whatever is triggered.
So improving our own empathy so that, I guess I'm feeling like, so our own ability to be empathic with others, should work on that.
So create some way of improving our own empathy with others.
Mm-hmm.
I would say have empathy circles for improving our empathy.
How about like blogs and newspaper things that talk about how empathy can help?
So hold a blog on how empathy can help. Okay.
Or are stories that people share about experiences they had where they really were able to listen well to somebody and it made a difference in their connection.
Okay. Share stories about empathy and connection.
Research what are the blocks people are finding or having.
Okay.
I mean, in our thing, we identified a lot of different areas of blockage, both personal and large scale. So, I mean, it's a pretty broad topic.
Yeah, so we need some way of sorting those kind of sort the blocks, sort and categorize. Kind of like
some are organizational. You know, there's some
are cultural.
Some are cultural.
Personal, organization.
I was hearing sort and organize the blocks, organizational, personal, cultural. Okay, so there's these are some ideas we've come up with. So what we want to do at this phase is start creating a prototype. Like, what is our prototype that we create from these ideas? We have the idea of create a journey map, sort and organize the blocks, improve our own empathy with others, share stories about empathy and connection, have blogs on how empathy can help, create a directory of blocks to empathy and address each one. So that's kind of similar here. And then I'm also seeing if we created, what if we create a directory of blocks to empathy and then address each one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sort them and organize them. And then each block, maybe we could have like each block, like each individual block, we have like a journey map of that block. Or
well, maybe not like an individual block, but a category of blocks. I don't know.
Okay. So like categories of blocks, a journey map for that.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not understanding what you're saying about the. I guess I'm believing that as we, can get this down to a more and more specific, we'll be able to figure out a way to address it, each one specifically, rather than trying to be general. Seems like it would be a little harder for me to get my head. I like the idea of taking it specific.
Okay.
One specific, figure some things out about that one, do another one specifically. If we
So take one specific block and work through that?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the context? Like, what is the prototype we want to do? Do we want to create a website for this, or like a report, or? Vicente, do you have any?
Not sure. So what would be, maybe we could share a few ideas about exactly. I mean, have we decided what we want to do, and then we are just going to decide how to do it? I mean,
well, we want to create a prototype of something. What is some kind of a product or service or something that we can create to kind of test out this,
Why don't we create a blog
or a marketing strategy?
Well, let's create a
strategy, okay.
that does, that shares these journey maps and these blocks and these catalogs that shares this information, so we have sort of a database that we're collecting.
Other people would respond. You mean like?
Yeah. And a blog is interactive, so people can relate or not relate or share their own.
Okay, so you're saying create a. I heard two things, two ideas here. One was to create a marketing strategy that addresses the blocks to empathy. And then the other one was create a blog.
Do we have any marketing experts?
No, not yet.
It might be hard to create a marketing strategy if we don't know what we're doing.
Okay, so create a blog. So you're saying, is that a blog where people talk about the blocks to empathy?
Yeah.
That concerns me. I'm not sure I could align with that. I mean, because I mean, focusing on problems, I don't think is a very good idea if we don't have like
Pick this one.
some nice outcome. Uh, I mean, if you say like the students feel that they are not heard by teachers,
That they are what?
Not heard by teachers.
yeah, probably teachers are going to say some of them. So why should I listen to them if they are just screaming? Or I don't know.
So
So I'm afraid there is not going to be a productive dialogue in
if
this.
we just do
Mhm.
that, we'll just encourage people to kind of get into their
Stories.
stories about how it's not working and it's a big problem, and they won't have something that they can actually do that would make it work better. They'll just get caught up in their negative thinking.
That I'm afraid of
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Really.
I also know from having done blogs that people don't really respond, that they haven't been very effective.
Well, what
So-
is effective?
Um, what is
Facebook page?
effective?
You get people involved on Facebook pages or
I find that I'm thinking what would be effective is the dialogue, like dialogue where people are actually speaking about blocks.
yeah, but then
So,
the people that are involved in the dialogues are the ones that are already empathetic and involved in it. How do we include people that aren't?
yeah.
How do we attract people to it, or convince people there's something we can do about it, or I was thinking one thing I recognized that I know that where I get stuck in all of this. And Jennifer McCabe, who I think is on your network too, she's been doing something a little different that I kind of like, and that was to sort of understand those stories. So maybe what Carla's suggesting about getting the stories, hearing what their stories are would be important research based data that we would, from that story, here's what the problem is, here are the things that we keep hearing people are struggling with, and then with our knowledge of the things we all know about how to help people become more empathetic or empathic, develop little tiny pieces of and things that they can do, like here's something you might want to try, or here's something that might work for you, or that would work in this case, and you bring people along
So that is
so
a
that they
mark.
get a little bit more, and get them more involved and more involved. If they like it, they come back and they want to know more. So
You find their pain points, and then you help find solutions that can maybe
or you don't go after their biggest pain, but you go after something they're struggling with and give them something that works, and then it's more low risk, I guess. It's a lower risk for them, and they get something immediately that they can use, which makes them more available to another interaction around it.
And maybe that's sort of, Vicente is sort of maybe some of the issues you're encountering in your classes, that maybe it's too much,
Big of a
and that maybe the idea is just to try one little thing, and that maybe the teachers would be more willing to do it if it's a really low risk thing to just do initially. I mean, it's got to be, that's what in our curriculum too, we have this thing that says you're learning with your students.
Don't have to be an expert.
You don't have to be
Don't
an
have
expert.
to know everything there is to know
It's
about
okay
it.
to make mistakes.
Uh-huh. Makes sense.
So what I was hearing is to get specific about one block and then work through it, and then to get a story about that block and then give some kind of a response that works. And we need some way of kind of finding those pain points. So what if we have like a process and then we create a journey map around that? So what if we started with one pain point? What is one major problem that is a block, and then we work through that as a prototype to kind of test it?
Yeah.
So what is one problem, one block that we could work through?
Fear of trying something new.
Okay.
That's a biggie.
But it's a basic, it's a basic issue that
Mhm.
all teachers face at some level or
taking
another.
risks, sort of taking risks or something like
At the expense of, academic instruction time.
Oh, oh, okay.
that. We're talking about teachers, yeah.
Or is it new, or it's like something around empathy, right? It's like there's
Yeah.
new in general, something new, trying something with empathy.
New in their classroom around empathy.
Okay.
How long would it take? I mean, would it be like a weekly activity followed by a debriefing or once in a while? I mean, how do you imagine that?
That's a great question.
That is a very good question. I think that would be, if we're going to try and do this and keep the risk level low, and the fear level low, we have to suggest something that would be, that to me they could be a certain amount, a small amount of time spent in a low risk situation where they could
with a
achieve success.
High success rate.
Yeah, that where the students would like it and they would like it.
Okay, so something I was thinking about, a prototype. What if we created like a blocks to empathy website, and then kind of systematically worked through, and we start off with the fear. Like I could create a website right now, for example, to...
Excuse me. Digues. D'acord, fins ara. Jo encara me queden 10 minutets on
I don't know. I don't think I would call it blocks to empathy.
Okay.
I would call it steps to empathy. Make
Right.
it positive.
Okay.
That's a good, I like that.
So I'm creating a website. We have it's called Steps to Empathy. I'm creating a Google...
Or steps to empathy in the classroom.
Oh, it's going to take a second to create, hopefully. And here we have our website, Steps to Empathy. We're going to call it Steps to Empathy.
Where are you?
If you see, I'm doing this. I just created a website in the... You can see me. You can see me in the Google Hangout. I'm just creating a Google website, so we have some kind of a prototype here. So we've got a website going, Steps to Empathy. What else would we create for the website?
So identify blocks.
Okay. I'll just create a page called Blocks. And so we created a page called Blocks.
And another page called Solutions.
Okay, so this is like Blocks to Empathy, and then we got a heading called Solutions.
I like that. Solutions.
Let's do that then. We got
Yeah.
Very spiritual.
solutions. Okay. I was thinking, like, what is a block? What was one of the blocks that we came up with? Like, every block could have its own page. So there was like fear.
Well, we also had categorical blocks. We have individual, we have societal, and we have
Cultural.
well, that's societal.
Oh, you had
Societal.
organizational
Let's see.
blocks.
Organizational.
So for individual blocks, if you, I guess I'm thinking.
That should be under
I'm
blocks.
thinking about how it would be from the person who's approaching this website. What are my own blocks? I don't know if I would identify that I'm afraid to do it as one of my blocks, but I would come up with things like, I don't have the time to include this in what I'm doing, and I have way too many other things that are more important to address.
I've been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
These people.
Kids need to listen better.
Okay. We are getting there.
make this a little bit bigger. So these are individual blocks. What is my block? I don't have time. Have way too many things to do. I've been doing this 20 years. Who are you?
To tell me.
To tell me. Kids need to listen better.
Administrative won't support me.
There is no help. Yeah.
It's not on the test.
Right.
Okay, so those are, we can start naming the blocks, and then what do we, and we had a whole bunch of them on the page, so we could start laying out. Actually, each of these could have a different page.
Well, that's right. If we just even looked at one of them.
But let's do, well, do we want to do societal? Do we want to do organizational?
I can just put a page in.
Or cultural? Let's call it cultural.
Okay, so if we wanted to take one, which one would we work through as a one block that we would want to? We want to grab one block and then would want to go into detail with that one, right?
Yeah. So are you asking for a cultural block?
Either one, that cultural or individual.
Cultural block is
Well, one of the things around here that's a big cultural block is there's 52 different cultures that live in this community, and so in the school system, the diversity is immense, and being able to, I think it works, empathy for everything, but I would imagine a teacher would feel overwhelmed at having to translate this sort of sensitivity and openness to each other into all the different cultures that appear in the classroom.
well, also I think the American culture, a block is, we say just do it. We don't really have a culture that supports feelings.
Right. Get over yourself and do it. Suck it up.
Yeah.
Those were two blocks. Was diversity. You know, it's like things are too diverse, or just do it. Don't address. Those are just like cultural values that come up.
And then the other area was organizational.
Okay.
Or category, I guess.
So I'll do that as organizational as a category. So we'll just stop there. But this is the idea: is that we would, from what we create, we would create a prototype, and our prototype is this website that that addresses blocks to empathy, and we're starting to work through creating a sort of a prototype of it, and then we could test it with others.
And how about, can you just put on organizational state standards and mandatory testing?
And standards. We got mandatory testing as blocks, and then standards as blocks. The system.
Vicente, are those things that you also face in Spain?
Not that much. Not
That's
really.
what I was thinking. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so that was. Let's go back into our mural. So here we have. This is just to review the process. We went into the brainstorming. We're here in the brainstorming phase. We came up with some ideas, and we're starting in on the prototyping. So we've got a prototype of a website. This is, we want to create something that's quick and dirty, and then we want to see, well, how does this website work? Is this working for everyone? Like, maybe we could do one round. Like, how would a website like this, at the state it's in now, how would it work for you? Do you have any thoughts on that? So we're kind of doing a little bit of a feedback here on how this website works for you.
Well, you created this website like super duper
fast,
easily and quickly, and for me, I mean, I'm not even sure how to interact with it, so there's some training that may need to happen.
Yeah.
There's some more. To me, it's not fleshed out quite enough yet, so I think it would require another, before we actually tested this prototype, I think we'd want to refine it a little more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but if you allow me, I think that if in order to test it, you just need to ask a teacher or someone said, "What do you think about that?" And they may say, "I like it," or, "Well, why don't you use words that we teachers use? Because I never use this culture." I don't know, whatever. But I mean, testing is just like asking people. I mean, not people.
Getting feedback from what they're.
Yeah, but not like really uploading your website and just asking. Yeah, getting some feedback, making changes, getting more feedback. So that's my idea, at least.
Yeah, it's kind of rough right now, but I like the idea of the blocks, having specific blocks that I can hone in on, and then have some kind of solutions to address those blocks, and to even have them named. I think I found it kind of refreshing just to know, hey, I'm not the only one that sees these blocks. Other people have these blocks. I found that supportive. Of course, it's very rough. It's a very rough beginning, but the idea within design is you kind of learn by doing. Right? We just go in there, we jump in, we create, and we just start doing. Vince, how did it work for you as a site? Like, what came up for you? I mean, as a
Uh, yeah, my impression was that I wanted more things to be more specific, like one block, not knowing all the students' names, or not knowing all the students' background. You know, this kind of, probably I would have made it much more specific. Like, not, you know, things that, because at least the teachers with whom I relate probably think about much more concrete things, not about like, you know, and I wouldn't want them to read about all these sentences because, like, they don't know, like the sentences that we wrote on individual. I would rather, well, I don't know. Yeah, I have my ideas, but anyway, the thing is, I mean, the idea is to ask to many people. This is just my view.
Yeah. So that's what within the feedback, you know, we would be testing. So we're doing a little bit of a test with each other. And we're hearing, you know, it's like, what did you think of the idea of overall? What worked? What would you change? What new ideas do you have it? What questions came up for you? And what did you think about? So those we're kind of starting with some of those ideas. And the overall here, let's go through it. Oh, no, sorry, some of these images, I don't know why these images kind of pop in like a little quirk. Let me just refresh this page. So we've come to the point where we've gone through a full cycle. We did empathy, interviewed each other, we defined a problem area, which we're narrowed down to the blocks to empathy. We came up with ideas of how to address. We created a prototype, was what's a quick, rapid website. We tested it, got everybody's little feedback on it, and we gathered more empathy, and we're ready for the next round. So, you know, to hone in, to go through again, to refine our prototype. So that's the basic process for the human-centered design. So in the 10 minutes that we have left, maybe we can just go around, like, you know, what did you like about the process? You know, what do you like? I like. I wish. What if? So I'll put that here. Like, we can just share those verbally. We don't have time to really write it out, but I will send an email to you with these questions. Maybe you can fill that out and send it to me. But we could just discuss it here. Like, what did you like about this workshop and the process? What do you wish for? And like a what if? I mean, so maybe we can go around with that.
Well, I like that I got more clear about what was going on as we worked with this. I feel a lot clearer now than as we started to try and work. It seemed awkward and I wasn't clear how to relate to it, but now that we've been through it, now I feel like the next time I would be able to participate more fully or differently in a way that might be more satisfying. So I like that. I wish that I had a little better, I don't know, facility with the technology, because I think that's what would make it work, and maybe I'll be able to practice on my own a little to find out how it works. I don't know, but it doesn't fit my hand yet, and my inclination is to sit in here and talk about it with you rather than, you know, write the ideas down where we'd have a recording. And I don't know what the other question was. There was
what if?
Oh,
what if?
What if we did this again and did the second round to find out where we might get to on the second round?
Okay. Great.
I liked that despite all of the challenges that we faced with regards to starting and getting here and technology and all of that, we were still able to create a website, or or at least the rudiments of one, and the concept of an idea to test out and to further flesh out and kind of think through what value it may or may not have. I wish I would have had a little better understanding of how to manipulate and work with Mural and a bigger screen. And what if I don't know, I kind of agree with Jackie. What if we were able to refine this further and figure out a little bit more? I like the direction that it's taking.
My comments are quite similar. I wish I would have been the first. So yeah, I liked the fast-paced thing. I mean, I liked that we, even starting late, we were able to catch up and to do a lot of things in a short period of time. I like that. Its effectiveness. I wish we would have more time to discuss things such as, if we were doing this in one school, would we do this in different teams, or would just one team make proposal, things like that. And what if? Yeah, definitely. I also thought, what if we had more time just to keep working and to make more tests.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then I'll share. I like one thing I really like is being with other educators who value empathy. So to be working together collaboratively on this same theme of empathy, and I really sense everybody really values and sees the importance of an empathic way of being. So that's I find that very supportive. I wish that the technology and all the blocks to doing this process online were overcome. Because it's it's like I realize it's painful for people struggling. Things aren't working. So I wish that we didn't have that and those ways of overcoming it. What if is we continue, stay in contact. Next week we could do another version of this, and you get better every time. You start learning. There's a real learning curve in this, and this is not meant. This 3.5 hours is not meant to have a finished high-level product, but just to introduce the overall concepts and the framework, and as you see that. This is really coming on strong. It's like Silicon Valley is behind this. There's big organizations coming, and this is really, if we can, as empathy, trainers and valuing empathy, if we can align with this movement, I think we have a lot to offer in terms of the beginning part of the design process, the empathy part, because we can offer. Empathic listening skills, focusing skills, conflict resolution, all these things that design starts with, that we can kind of integrate with the human-centered design, and so I just see a lot of potential of bringing together the person-centered approach, restorative practices, and design. So I guess it's what if we stay in contact, keep working on this, eventually do in-person workshops. Design is kind of more of an in-person thing anyway, we're just, this is handy, but the best is to really do it in person with Post-its on this, on the walls and stuff like that. But this is a good
Old way.
the old school, yeah. This is a good, it's a good quick introduction. You don't have to travel anywhere, so that's. So I guess, yeah. If join next week again. There's still space for next Thursday. If you've got ideas of what we can do, because I want to create this little engine to bring empathic school cultures in using design and all the other processes. So I'm glad to collaborate and and come up with ideas and be creative, come up with effective, and even to talk about marketing too, because I like how to market. I think that's a big part. See, like our international empathy trainers meeting is next week, and the question is, how do we sell, market, our services? So it seems to be a constant struggle with everyone. So maybe we can even apply design towards that question. So anyway, those are just some thoughts. And if you would be so kind as to write up your I like, I wish, what if, and send it to me, then I'll post it on the website, and that other people can learn from that and can use it for promotion and stuff. So that's kind of it for in closing. I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts, and we can.
Well, my question, I guess, is we have this idea, this website concept about steps to empathy in the classroom. What is the next step? Is it next Thursday, or is it something else? Is it something that we pivot off on our own, or is this, just going to be a continuously evolving example and process? And
yeah, so it's really like, what are the next steps? That's something, yeah. I've been looking at that very questions, like these, how do we keep in contact? What do we do? Is there something we can do together? And I don't have quite the solution to that, except, keep doing these design projects, and then maybe even form a group. Like I know Vince, you're doing the prototyping class. There's other classes that I can host too. There's an 8-hour workshop for this, and then there's a 7-week course from IDEO, and that's the course that Vince, you're doing, is from IDEO, 4-week course. So there's other courses we can do online. So maybe
are those courses free?
Those courses are free, yeah. So you form your own team. So the two of you could actually form a team, or we can form a team online, or you can form a local team.
It'd be nice to have a team of people that are interested in K through 12 education and empathy.
Would you like to form? So I guess the question is do you have any requests, any proposals for sort of next steps, ideas,
Well, what do you think of this website concept that we've started at the very rudimentary level?
I like the whole idea of the blocks to empathy. I put together kind of a training empathy sort to create lessons. I laid out like about 30 blocks to empathy. So I think the blocks to empathy is the big thing. So yeah, I guess it's just like what would be the most effective, like I guess I'm open for continuing to do some kind of projects together. So what exactly I'm kind of open for.
All right. So maybe next step would be for us to think about how we might want to make this more real,
and there's a call maybe to our databases for people that are interested in K through 12 empathy. Although, like you said, once it can get a little hectic if you have too many people, huh?
Well, I think we don't have the prototype yet. That's what I think we need to.
No, it's part of the prototype design.
No,
I'm thinking
bringing people into the designing process.
Yeah.
Well, the way I was going to approach it was just keep going through these iterations. And
every Thursday?
Yeah, every Thursday. And then all the material that's generated, I'm capturing it and putting it onto a website. So I want to create a website on empathic school, website, culture building, and then the interviews, the ideas that are generated here will all go in there, and hopefully start fleshing that out. So, like the blocks to empathy could be, folded into that.
Got it.
One of the things that challenges me about these processes is there's just so much information, especially in the ideation phase, where I like how we tried to categorize it. That's really important. But I find, like, when I look at some of your things, Edwin, myself, personally, I get overwhelmed. And I don't know how to sift through it effectively.
So many
I hear that
people
a
doing
lot,
so
yeah.
many things. Wow.
So I think simplifying is empathetic.
Yeah. I hear that. That's like how can we simplify? It's like that's the design process, right? With the empathy phase, we gather all this insight.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not divergent, but then there's convergence to bring it all down to one point, like one clear point. And then there's the ideation, the brainstorming. You actually want to have wild, crazy ideas to stimulate that creativity, but then we got to kind of hone it in. So there's this opening and closing kind of a process.
But what we present to the public, what we present out there, should be the narrower view.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just something to think about.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to figure that. What is just a very simple point? For me, that simple point has been empathy circles. So like small group, empathic, mutual empathic listening, bringing in different topics. So one thing I was looking at creating is a 12-step empathy training program where there's some reading. You read have an hours of reading or video online, and then you come into an empathy circle and use empathic listening to dialogue about it and practice empathic listening, and slowly. So I'm looking at bringing everything around the empathy circle as the foundational practice. Mm-hmm. And it's very simple because anybody can do that, and there's no complications, and this afternoon I'm doing a discussion with the author, let's see, of this book, The Stress Solution, Using Empathy and Cognitive Behavioral Therapy to Reduce Anxiety and Develop Resilience. So he's making the point that, stress has all kinds of negative effects. There's a whole list of stuff on the Mayo Clinic and all that kind of stuff of laying out all the negative effects. And there's, creates cortisol in the body. And through empathic listening is actually a healing agent. It transforms cortisol and stress into connection, empathy, and connection into oxytocin. So that's the simple formula, like empathy circles around what stresses have you had. So I'm really looking at that one simple activity that we can engage people in without all the other stuff. Yeah.
You know what the solution to empathy blocks is? Empathy.
That's a simple thing. What does the block do?
Absolutely. Far out.
All right.
Okay, you guys.
Okay.
It's been really great. So
great chatting.
I'll look for your email. I'll send you my feedback about what I liked and what I wish for and what if we could.
And join next week or the week after too.
Next week might be a tough commitment.
Well, yeah, we'll see what we can do.
See what we can do.
Well,
so
next
you're doing
week,
every Thursday? Is that what you're?
For the next 2 or 3 weeks, and I have to see after that. This I'm doing by donation, and if you want to donate, the first ones were totally free. This is free, or you can donate if you would like. So So I'm going to do some by donation and then decide, you know, to to charge for these workshops. So this is a bit of a prototype for me. So thank you for testing this out and working out all the bugs. Next week, actually, someone from Stanford is going to be there, so that would actually be a good. She is director of some online education program, and I've done empathy circles with her, so she would be a really great person to meet, I think, if you want to take part.
Would you be comfortable with or okay with a partial participation, like if I had to leave a little early?
Yeah, it's good to be there for the whole time, because it kind of I think it's a little bit disruptive, you know, to not be there for the full time. Because, you know, we're doing interviews, and it's just
I get it.
Yeah, it's just hard with people coming
We feel
in.
the same way about our workshops. You know, you got to be there.
Yeah.
Experience.
So, okay, then great. Then hope to see you next week, if not at the other week. And any ideas, send them, you know, our way. Glad to continue the dialogue about any kind of projects to do around this. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Edwin.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Nice to
Bye.
meet
Nice
you,
to meet you.
Vicente.
Bye, Vince. Bye.
Adios.
Adios.
All right. Adios.
Adios.
Oh, and Vince, I'll send you the link to the prototyping group.
Oh, thank you.
You're just doing the regular challenge?
Yes.
Let me just send you this real quick here. And you have a group, a local group that's...
Yes. Yes, but maybe I wouldn't mind doing more stuff.
Because I converted the whole course onto Mural.
Yeah.
So
So you've got a subscription. You are what's that? You are paying. You have a premium.
I have they gave me a free premium. I actually have like this super account. I have an educator's account. It's probably like a $20,000 account. I can have up to 500 students.
Wow.
Yeah. So I just put the link in.
Okay.
And that's the course that we're doing. And actually, let me bring up the video, because we just did we did the first meeting, so we're moving on to the second meeting. And let me bring that up real quick. Share. All right. Did that page come up for you?
Say again.
I just put in a link to a page I wanted of our. Did you see that's the prototyping course?
Yeah.
I put in the, oh, okay. If you refresh the page,
Yes.
I just put the video in, so there's actually the video of the first meeting, kind of part of the meeting. We didn't record the whole
Okay.
thing, but you can kind of get a sense of what it looked like, and
Thank you.
so
Thank you.
okay.
So,
Okay.
it's a pleasure, as usual.
Pleasure. Yeah, it was great. Great presence. You have a great presence, so really enjoy your presence.
Thank you. Have a,
Okay.
have
See
a
you.
nice day. Bye.